Who would have thought the filmmakers of such a renowned franchise would go on to use an antique mirror to try and scare us for their last hurrah? But there is more to it than meets the eye right away, because once again, this film brings in Ed and Lorraine Warren at the center of the horror, and by doing so, we see how their life's work complete into one neat circle as they end their career with the same evil they started it with. As the fourth entry in the Conjuring series and ninth in the overall Conjuring universe, Last Rites pays a fitting homage to its predecessors while forcing the Warrens to contend with a new demonic entity. But unlike all other creepy evil entities of the overarching Conjuring franchise, the newest primary paranormal antagonist of the Conjuring Last Rites remains carefully hidden throughout most of the movie, and rightly so, because nobody's first thought behind the source of evil would be an antique wood-rimmed mirror with 3 baby angels carved on top. So, without wasting another moment, let's discuss the demonic mirror we see in the Conjuring Last Rite.
I don't know how to protect you this time.
How did Ed and Lorraine Warren encounter the demonic mirror? Well, this is not the kind of mirror that tells you who is the prettiest of them all. This is the mirror that tries to haunt you till it can fully claim your soul. And even though the last Conjuring film is mild at best in terms of horror, I still have not been able to look at a mirror for too long. Even if this demonic mirror pretty much starts the whole film, we do not ever actually get a name for the entity controlling it, as we did with Bathsheba Sherman or Valak the Nun. All we know is back in 1964, when Ed and Lorraine first started their work with the paranormal, they were young and eager about their jobs. During one of their first ever cases, the couple visited an antique shop which was run by a father and daughter duo. Unfortunately, something was not right in that shop for a very long time, but as these things go, the man who owned the place ignored all the signs until one day something drew him to take his own life by hanging himself from the ceiling. After his unforeseen death, the daughter began feeling like someone was always present in the room with her. This initially drove her to reach out to the Warrens. After the couple heard her out, the woman pointed them towards the storeroom, which was where her father took his life. A super pregnant Lorraine went in headfirst into the pitch dark room, trying to get to the depth of the situation, and saw a striking antique mirror adorned with hand-carved wooden cherubs on top. As Lorraine walked towards the mirror, she only felt a presence and believed it to be the owner who took his life. She then looked straight into the mirror and saw the man's legs hanging from the ceiling. Lorraine immediately felt the air around her shift and stretched her hand out to touch the mirror's glass. Just as she came in contact with the mirror, the glass cracked and she started having cursed visions of the demonic entity alongside her unborn child. The next we know, Lorraine is in active labour, screaming for Ed. As the couple rush to the hospital, the lights go out in the middle of the birth-giving process, forcing the doctors to carry on with the delivery in the dark. Just then, we see a pair of hands stretching out from the ceiling and coming towards Lorraine. Before we know it, we get our first look at the demon as it crawls along the corner of the delivery room, sending Lorraine in a frenzy. Later, when Judy is born, she turns out to be stillborn, which is automatically implied to be the demon's doing. But after Lorraine's frantic prayers to God, the child finally lets out a cry after 1 whole minute. Following this, the Warrens were too traumatized to even think of going back for the mirror and chose to forget about it, believing that they had stopped the demonic entity from hurting their family. Little did they know that the demon was still bound to the cursed mirror and had actually made its impression on Lorraine the moment she touched the glass and cracked it, meaning that this demonic entity had now attached itself to their daughter Judy Warren since the night she was born.
This thing in your house is a demon.
How did the demonic mirror find the Warren family? By manifesting through its victims. So, after the harrowing delivery and Judy's birth, Ed and Lorraine go on to spend most of their lives helping others deal with paranormal hauntings. As the film flashes forward to 1986, we see the couple looking back to reminisce about the past 20 years of their life, now that they were retired from their high-life risk jobs. As they mentioned to the youngsters during a lecture, Ed and Lorraine have battled poltergeists, dealt with haunted homes, rooms and faced a demon-possessed doll. The list is definitely long, and to vouch for it, they have got a room full of creepy objects that they have collected over the years, with each piece being either haunted, cursed, or used in some sort of ritualistic practice. But now they have taken a step back after Ed's heart attack to live a relatively normal life. Meanwhile, Judy is all grown up, but the psychic visions plaguing her are growing to be a matter of concern. Ever since she has been little, Lorraine has taught her a safe method to shut out anything that she could sense. Even then, we see a hand creep up on her shoulder as her visions plague her, and although Lorraine notices it, she helps Judy to shut it out. On the other hand, the demonic mirror resurfaces once again in Pennsylvania when the Smurl family celebrate their granddaughter Heather's confirmation ceremony. Jack and Janet Smurl live in a 2-story house with their 4 children and Jack's elderly parents. For Heather's confirmation, her grandparents come across a hand-carved vintage antique mirror, and so they bring it over to their house as a gift. Of course, nobody had the slightest clue that the mirror was demonic, and so the entity made its presence known by knocking a heavy ceiling light down on Heather and injuring her in the process. Ever since that day, the family lived in a constant state of distress as strange, inexplicable things began to happen to them. Janet and her daughters start hearing disembodied voices, see shadowy entities moving through the rooms, and experience a series of other paranormal events. So one day, after having enough of the creepiness, the 2 older Smurl daughters, Heather and Dawn, decide to discard the mirror outside, and that is when the demonic entity's power is truly revealed for the very first time. The next morning, we literally see the truck coming to pick up the trash from outside. In fact, the 2 men in charge lift up the mirror and throw it inside the compaction system to crush it into pieces. But just as the mirror starts breaking and the glasses shatter, Dawn starts feeling ill. Before we know it, she is projectile vomiting blood all over the kitchen floor and even throwing up shards of glass once the mirror is supposedly destroyed inside the garbage truck. Even if the mirror's demonic powers are a bit scattershot and not very well explained throughout the film, it is apparently able to manipulate reality and clearly manifest through Dawn by placing glass shards in her stomach as a form of revenge, since it was she who first proposed the idea of throwing the mirror away. In the following days, life becomes a living hell for the Smurls, and Heather begs her father to seek help or move them out of the house, but Jack still does not act on it. That is, until a succubus-like entity takes control of his body while he is asleep. The spirit completely paralyzes his body, lifts him 5 feet above the bed, crawls on top of him, and then proceeds to sexually assault him violently. During the same time, Heather was going through the video of her confirmation ceremony and paused it to notice the face of a demon beside her while she was blowing the candles on the cake. Right at that moment, the lights of the hall begin to flicker and the ghost of a man holding an axe lunges himself at her. As Heather starts screaming, Janet wakes up to find her husband floating above the bed. Now, with no other option left, the Smurls take the matter directly to the press, hoping that someone would help their family out. Meanwhile, the Warrens were celebrating Ed's birthday when Judy had another disturbing vision of Annabelle. When Lorraine asks her about her growing visions, Judy does not open up much and agrees with her mother about shutting them out. After the party, Father Gordon insists the Warrens help a family in distress in Pennsylvania, but they decline his offer, choosing to stay on board with their retirement plan. So Father Gordon takes it upon himself to help the Smurls and drives down to their house to assess the situation at hand. As he goes into the house and sprinkles holy water on the floorboards, the demonic entity makes its presence known by evaporating into a thick cloud of smoke. This immediately ticks Father Gordon off as he hauls his S to the Diocese of Scranton. But as he waits to seek help from the bishop, Gordon faces an otherworldly presence in the room. In a matter of seconds, the cross-embossed doorknobs turn upside down, and so Father Gordon pulls out his Bible and his cross to save his life. Unfortunately, the enveloping darkness present in the room overtakes him as he tries to cast the demon away. It proves to be too strong for him to take on alone, as it burns the Bible and the cross off his hand, thus completely possessing him. Next, we know Gordon walks out of the room and hangs himself right from the stairs. It is pretty clear that even if the main paranormal plaguing everyone is never seen in its full standalone form, we do see it manifest throughout the narrative. This basically means that this enveloping darkness was also a manifestation of the demonic entity present within the mirror, which in turn influenced Gordon to take his own life.
Yeah.
The demonic mirror has always wanted Judy Warren. So Judy had another encounter with the demon while trying on wedding dresses. In a mirror-walled trial room, as she was trying on dresses, Judy felt something reach out from underneath her dress. Only this time, she could not shut out her visions, and as Judy looked at herself in the mirror, she saw a demonic version of herself, which led her to scream at the top of her lungs. Following this encounter, the Warrens received the news of Father Gordon's death, and at his funeral, Judy touches his casket, which gives her the vision of his death. The next morning, while Lorraine was doing the dishes, she had a vision of Judy's photo in a locket, drowning in a kitchen sink full of blood. Just then, Tony comes looking for Judy, and after not being able to find her, they go to the Smurl house. After finally tracking Judy down, Ed and Lorraine try to bring her back, but she refuses to leave and insists her parents help the family out. So, when they decide to stay back, they actually walk right into the demon's trap, as it has been using different mediums all this time in order to get to Judy. Initially, through her visions, Lorraine figures out that, apparently, the land the Smurls lived upon once used to be a farmland where a wild woman once had an affair. So out of mad rage, her husband took an axe and tried to hunt her down while she was hiding in the basement with her elderly mother, thus killing them both in a violent rage before taking his own life. But Lorraine could also sense the spirits were a facade to cover up something darker hiding inside the house. On the other hand, Judy is increasingly drawn towards the attic, where she discovers the mirror that has magically reappeared there in its old condition. When Judy reaches out to touch the cracked glass, she senses absolutely nothing, only to be chased by a ginormous Annabelle doll a few moments later. As she tumbles down the stairs and hits her head, the Warrens finally realize that the demonic mirror had finally found them by using the Smurls as a medium. I guess you really cannot escape what's haunting you. Anyways, Ed decides to move the mirror out of the house and drive it to his occult room with Tony's help. But as Jack and Ed try to move the mirror out of the attic, it grows increasingly heavy in size, causing them to fall down. During this time, Lorraine gets trapped in the basement with the spirits of the wild woman and her rage-filled, axe-wielding husband. Meanwhile, Tony tries to start the car, but he is met with the ghost of the elderly mother, which almost leads him to a crash. In lieu of doing most of the dirty work itself, the demon mirror basically subjugates the three seemingly human spirits into tormenting the Smurls and Warrens. As terrifying as the three entities are, it was the demonic entity present in the mirror who was actually pulling their strings. This whole fiasco gives the demonic entity more than enough time to possess Judy. Now that she is possessed, Judy slams the Smurls family dog across the wall, almost gives Ed a heart attack, and then slowly walks towards the mirror, which is clearly trying to claim her soul. Luckily, Tony helps Lorraine out of the basement and then runs to help his fiancée. Ed gets his Bible to start exorcising the demon. As Tony holds the mirror down, Ed goes on with the ritual, but the demon only grows stronger. In fact, it dragged Tony by the neck as Ed tried to stop it. Every time they saw the mirror, they saw demonic versions of themselves forcing them to give up. It was not until Lorraine realized that the demonic entity had always wanted to claim Judy, and she had always asked Judy to shut it all out. But this time, she did the opposite, as Lorraine asked Judy to face her fears head-on without trying to escape from it. Together, they tapped into psychic abilities, and as they both touched the glass of the mirror in a desperate, telepathic mind-to-mind showdown against the demon trying to claim their entire family, Judy and Lorraine, with their synchronized and unbreakable bond, managed to cast the demon out by shattering the mirror glass in a blinding flash of light. All in all, while the demonic mirror tormented the Smurls, what it really wanted the entire time was a soul that it had been denied more than 20 years earlier. Even if it was never explicitly stated, this demonic entity had been loosely attached to Judy since the day she was born, and was probably even responsible for the awful visions she had experienced throughout her entire life. So, when the Warrens finally got involved with the Smurls after Judy sought them out, the demon entity seized its opportunity to finally claim her soul. It even ratcheted up the whole game by making them face the horrifying appearances of the three entities it controlled, along with the other visions that it tortured the Warrens with. However, as powerful as the mirror demon seemed throughout the movie, Judy, Ed and Lorraine managed to banish it into the mirror and away from the Smurl family once and for all, with the help of their combined psychic abilities and prayer. Is it possible that the mirror is an otherworldly plane for all demonic entities we see in the Conjuring franchise? Firstly, it really seems like a missed opportunity that the filmmakers never show the demon's full form as we see in each of the first two Conjuring movies with their primary antagonists. However, having the demonic entity manipulate the terrifying spirits of three others, just as Valak did with Bill Wilkins and the Crooked Man in The Conjuring 2, definitely made its power seem much more significant. I do agree that this demonic entity may not have been the scariest paranormal that the Warrens faced over the course of the four Conjuring movies, but its ability to manipulate reality by placing itself back in the Smurl house is one of the most potent powers which makes it worthy enough to become the main villain for the franchise finale. Plus, I have a theory, and do hear me out on this. We know that the mirror woke up three angry dormant spirits, and we also see how it manifests its effect through a terrifying version of Annabelle chasing after Judy. Plus, mirrors in general are considered as a gateway to the other world, so when you add everything up, it somehow makes me think that this demonic mirror might be a gateway for all the demons surfacing on Earth. Maybe that's how it could manifest Annabelle's gigantic form and even raise the three human spirits within the Smurl house, which probably stood on a small portion of the huge farmland that had previously existed. Do you think that Annabelle and Valak and every other overarching demonic entity could have used this mirror as means to come to this world from an otherworldly plane? I really don't think that is a far-fetched idea, because we have seen the kind of damage it is capable of inflicting, even while sitting miles away in the Smurl attic. Moreover, it has remained unaccounted for a good few decades, and also has a very ambiguous origin, so really, just anything is possible. Maybe they will make another mildly scary, overdone movie about it, who knows? But seriously, if this theory indeed comes true, I think that will be the true homage to the Conjuring franchise instead of whatever the hell this was. Having said that, do you think the mirror has the potential to become the bridge between our world and an otherworldly, hellish dimension? Let us know your theories in the comment box below.